All right. Blow your trumpet that comment in from Jason Durello. And that's how we kickstart Eve today. We're on a high note and high spirit. It's the first day of the month. It's the first Wednesday.
Woo! Happy New Month.
Happy New Month,
I can
ladies.
smell Christmas already.
Yes.
People too early to say that.
Yes.
I don't know.
You don't smell Christmas?
No, because
I
there's no
smell
money
it.
in my
Oh,
pocket.
come on. Okay, cash madam.
The way you are looking, you know, but she looks like this 1980, you know, madam. I don't know, yeah, vintage.
1950.
Oh, come on.
With the
Nah,
pearls.
nah, nah.
I don't think you understand how
You're looking
those
so
madams, like,
vintage,
with the
lovely.
pearls, black and white. Oh my God.
Okay. But what do I owe you now?
You know now.
But you see, gone are the days
Yes.
we it's like we all of us somehow we have acclimatized.
Yeah.
Whether there's money
True.
or there is no money,
True.
we want to enjoy Christmas.
and
It's
make
like
the most out of
we
it.
have made up our mind that it's not money. No matter what I eat inside my house, I must have, you know, a full good time. It's Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's how it should be.
so
We must
Olivia,
keep chicken. We must.
at least even
keep
if we don't
chicken,
go and
go
buy
and buy
eggs
per
and
kilo.
all of that.
Even if it's momo, even if it's fish, even if it's egg, whatever you can afford, just do
somehow-
it. Because
somehow-
chicken, it's not big man food.
Even egg now, almost.
Somehow we all have found a way to just
Adjust,
adjust
Well,
and
alright.
make ourselves
Yes,
happy.
but let's start, ladies. How's your week been? I can see it's been fantastic from the way we are all looking all good,
Yeah.
looking all. But let's start with you, Waki. You had quite an eventful last week. So how was it rolling into this week?
First off, I
Yes.
deserve happy birthday. Monday was my
Where's the bell? Where's the bell? Happy birthday!
No, but I don't like this. So.
Oh my
I can't be
God.
celebrating your birthday.
Where did my
without
bell?
anything.
Where did my bell disappear to?
Yeah, the drinks and
Nothing
everything.
to show for this. So
birthday. Everybody ate
Yes.
the cake and everything.
Okay.
and
everybody, please, we didn't eat.
Hey,
Exception.
because you weren't there. You weren't there. You weren't there. Akuna can tell, you know. I heard Akuna saying, you know, behind the mic
Yeah.
that the cake was
The cake was
sweet.
delicious.
Wow.
As in, and you see, thank you to Joy. Joy got the contacts
Yeah.
for and everybody said the cake was very in fact,
nice.
it was last night I told the ladies, I said, come. I did birthday. Please, you should allow me to eat this cake. And the person had to say, it's true, oh, mommy. Come and taste the cake. Let it not be that I did not. But it was, I thank God. My daughter, my friend, season 3 was a blast. It was humbling. It was something beyond my imagination. You know, season 1 was beautiful. It was there. You know, season 2, I felt I'd seen it all. But season 3, the turn out of people, that's the first one. The crowd was, you know, filled. Akuna, you know, we had to be bringing all the chairs, you know, down, you know, for people to find a place to sit. People came in and the facilitators were something out of this world.
Actually, I did learn a lot, you know, about parent-child relationship, mother-daughter relationship, and all. It's quite important that you bond and share that special relationship. You know, there were games to play. How well do you know your child? You know, and it was beautiful to see some mothers were learning more about their kids, while some were so good, you know, with knowing what their kids liked and all, and some people also giving testimonies and all. And I heard one particular one that shocked me, as how a 14-year-old girl had already had 3 abortions, you know, at a certain point, when they were like, just send anonymous messages, you know, read it and all. Yeah, so you can imagine having that kind of program. It's a beautiful one now, and how it tallies with what we're talking about today, you know, dispute and all, and how parents dispute and how we can affect the child. So the program she had was beautiful, it was really enlightening, and it's something that, you know, a lot of people need to embrace and, you know, hold your child dearly and all, and know that whatever issues you have can affect your child mostly negatively.
Yeah, you know, a particular parent said to me that I think she was one of those that took part in the competition. She said to me later on, said that, you know, within her, she just felt that thing that something was missing, that she could not believe that she just this little things about her daughter she did not know, that she couldn't believe. And she said to me that, you know, it's some sort of reawaken something in her, that she's going to be intentional about every detail about our child. And she also said something, because she heard one of the speakers talk about the way we, you know, she talked about if your child were to be Jesus, you know, how you will treat your child, you know, the way we treat our children at times and all of that, you know. And honestly, it was a beautiful event. And in fact, someone said to me that we can have this every year. I said, nah.
So we're looking forward to season 4.
Season 4, by the grace of God. You know, it's biannual. It's biannual, yes.
Okay.
Because
All
it's
right.
really capital intensive.
True.
But notwithstanding, other than, you know, the big show and everything, we still do things, you know, one-on-one with parents, like we do 21st century parenting, where we try to, you know, sensitize parents also about, you know, this and that. But in all, it was a beautiful event, well attended. I say thank you to the First Lady of Lagos State. She sent the wife of the Chief Press Secretary to represent her and read out her speech. Also, the Chief of Staff of Lagos State, he was a chief host, and he was also represented there, and he, you know, also he gave a speech. And everybody here and there, you know, I say very big thank you. It was a beautiful. And the gentlemen and ladies of the press. Someone said it was a gathering of press men. I said,
Yes,
I was
no.
thinking, ring the bell,
Yes,
successful
yes,
event,
yes,
and say
yes,
a
yes.
big happy birthday
Yes.
to you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you also to everybody on
Yeah.
Metro FM. Remember,
Yeah.
Metro FM was represented. I love the spirit. When I heard Akuna had to trek so much to get, I said, God, oh my God. And, you know, it made me say, okay, next time I have to put that into consideration. And even, you know, other colleagues that came from Metro, the heights they went to just to be there. Honestly, it's an honor. You know, when you are honored this way, you know, you just begin to wonder, who are you? Who am I to have been honored this way? I say thank you to everybody. I am not taking this for granted.
You're most welcome. Well, I'm sure you've said a lot, and that actually sets the tone, just like Akuna said earlier on. You know, let's look at children now. We've been talking about parents. Last week we talked about, you know, proper sanitary disposal, you know, garments and all of that. So today we're taking a look at parent disputes, like when the home front becomes a war zone. How it affects children? Does it affect them? What is the impact on the kids later on in the future? So that's what we are talking about today. Do we even need to involve the kids in the first place? At times, even when we don't involve them, for goodness sake, they have eyes, they can see, they have ears, they can hear. So we want to know, does it affect them? Parents dispute wasn't. That's the topic today right here on Eve on Metro 97.7 FM. We want to feel your pulse. We want to hear from you. Join in the conversation. As usual, numbers to do so are 0810 608 1681 081 0608 1681. You can send an SMS to that number. You can also send a WhatsApp if you so please. I will definitely read them out. You can also call us on 0818 202 5883. Those are the numbers to be a part of the conversation. Well, of course, you heard YK telling us about events. Akuna Kukus is here, and our able producer Olivia Hayfron is here. I remain my humble self in Camp Delim Atta. So let's kickstart. Let's get straight to business. War zone. Does it affect the kids?
It totally affects the kids,
Yes.
you know, and it's mostly negative. You know, like you said, is it something that the kids can do without hearing? Unfortunately, it's not, because as they grow older, they become wiser. They start to understand that, even little kids will say, when they are talking to maybe somebody random, you know, they have no filter. They're like, why is mommy always shouting at daddy? Why is daddy always shouting at mommy? You know, I feel sad. You know, so you hear little kids, you know, talking like that. Then now, progressing to when you are getting older, in the end, you see that those kids want to be far away from home. They look forward to going back to boarding school if they're in boarding school. If it's the university, even when they are, you know, I remember then in school then, during holidays, like short holidays, like midterm and stuff, there are some kids who stayed behind.
True.
They never looked forward to going home. So maybe during the long holiday, they'll follow one of their friends and stay with them small before they now, eventually move at home. You can imagine the situation at home. Imagine that the mother and father are disputes every other day, every night they are fighting. There's no peace in the house. So that's just absolutely crazy. Who would want to be there? It's really, really sad that happens. And in the end, it affects them when they grow older. You start seeing this person saying, no, I don't want a man like my dad. No, I don't want a woman like my mom. I won't take this from any man because this is what my mom took that made my dad talk down on her. I won't take this from anyone because this is what happened that, made my dad look so low, before my mom. So these things that happen will now impact them negatively, and they'll start having issues with their relationships going forward because they've watched their parents and they don't want to make the same mistakes they've made, but they forget that no one is perfect. Everyone has to come together to work to understand and build a family. So it's important that parents basically know how to manage situations, know how to manage issues. They shouldn't escalate it. When in front of their children, they should act cordial. When they're in their room, they can, go back for pending the time that they will sort out their solution, because these children will be affected. Not growing up in a home with love will affect you. You can't be expressive, and then also it can affect children, especially the female kids. Why do I say that? Because when they go out, one person will just read them now, and they will fall because they are looking for somebody that will show them that love that they don't experience at home. So when somebody says, oh, I love you, I'll take care of you, and you find solace in that person, that solace you don't find at home, that you can't run back to your mom or dad to say, hey, mommy this, hey, daddy, you find it in a stranger. And in the end, most of those people are just there they are leeches, they're just there to suck you dry, and when they are done, they will dump you. So it becomes a pattern.
Yeah, that's quite true. And apart from that, you see, for the females now, when they eventually would want to settle with a man, there are things we do in my hometown where I come from. We do some findings, find out your background, and then it is said that, oh, are you going to Lagwaja's house to marry her daughter? Her mother was not able to stay with the father in a very peaceful way. So what is the tendency that this same girl will not pick her mother's minority, and that could stop her happiness.
True.
So it affects children in every angle. There's even no gets away from it. The best thing to do is, if you must fall out with your significant other, have a room where you can tear yourself apart.
Soundproof, like this.
But the thing is that even if you have a room, the noise will still get out one way or the other.
Yeah, that's true. Or you target when these kids are not there. Because, you see, you could just be looking at them as very little children, but they know what is happening.
Yes.
They pick on everything. And some of them could even want to, like, okay, let me try it out. It worked for my mom. Why can't I do the same thing?
I've actually heard some people say they never heard their parents fight.
True.
And
But it's not that they don't fight.
Yeah, parents would just giggle.
Yeah, I was actually going there. You know, I have two examples of my parents and of my own personal, marriage. My parents, for so many years, unfortunately, their marriage was falling apart, and we never knew. They were having serious battle. When I say serious battle, for years, for about 2, 3, 4 years thereabout. And I think it was towards the break of the marriage that we got to know that, wow, these people, they had been falling apart since all of these years. How they did it, nobody knew. How, in fact, till now, it's still a mystery to me, the way they did it, because those days we never heard them quarrel, we never heard them, though, as we all were grown, we are adults, and my mom will tell us, she's told us a whole lot of things, and we're like, what? This was actually happening, and we never knew, because before the fallout, they used to be the best couple, and somehow when the everything was falling apart, they still tried to, keep the face, keep the whole of things, Well, maybe those were parents of yesterday. But talking about parents of today, maybe it's because of the pressure we're going through, the tension everywhere, the issues here and there, no money, the economic stress and everything that everybody is going through. So everybody's just lashing out, and it's always gas goes, and you don't even want to know who is there or who isn't there. And unfortunately, you find that even in some homes, you find them even in the middle of the quarrel and everything, they kick the children away to one side, and all of that, and these things are happening. Honestly, we cannot say that it won't affect the children. Some people, I know of somebody that said that she needed to end the marriage, because not even basically for her, basically for our children, because she said to herself, she said, I would rather my children live in a peaceful environment and grow up with the fact that, well, my parents, they just couldn't live with each other. They were, they lived apart all my life, other than for them, to live in an environment that is not peaceful, and somehow they begin to think that is the right way of life. I've seen a couple of people said that, so there is just no way, the children, the parents' disputes will not affect the children. Now, let me come to individual parents, the father or the mother. We have seen situations where the father is angry at the mother and will deny the children of one or two things. That is not even right. We see a lot of that happens. We see a situation where the mother is really annoyed, and because probably for one reason or the other, she will say, I don't want to cook for him. In the bit of not cooking for him, she begins to get junks for the children to eat because she doesn't want to cook. These are several other ways also that, not only the physical, combat that affects the children. At times, the actions and inactions of this people, the husband and the wife now, affects the children directly or indirectly. We have seen a situation where a man feels that I'm angry at my wife, I would not sleep in the house for the next 1 week. And if not sleeping in the house for the next 1 week, he will be depriving the children of 1, 2, 3 things, which will also affect the children.
Right.
The woman might not even speak out, but the children, the children of today, they have this, I don't understand whether it's 7 cents or 8 cents.
You can, sorry, I need to cut you in now.
Okay.
I need to cut in now. There are two different types of parents now.
Okay.
There are some that want to keep all of this away from the kids. And there are some that want to, okay, let me pull my children to me. They begin to tell the children stories. Your father did this, your mother did that. These are two different kinds of parents. And then the one we would really encourage are the ones that want to keep these things away from the children. They don't have business with whatever problems you have with your husband. So whatever business you have, whatever problems you have, solve it in your own little way. Don't drag the kids into it. Don't begin to narrate. Okay. They're not interested in hearing these stories. Don't narrate, save them.
But how about parents where, yes, they've created that, very loving environment. This is how you should love your wife. This is because whether you like it or not, they are more or less like saying we are the template of how marriage should be, because you're first exposed to your parents before you start, observing other people's marriages. So your parents are like a model for the real marriage, and so they've shown all the lovey-dovey side. And I want you to also know that there's going to be a time in the marriage where there's going to be misunderstanding. So they want you to see everything, see how mommy and daddy are handling it, and this is how you should handle it. Yes, you should get upset, yes, but you should not go overboard. So they're also the kind of parents to where they feel that you should balance some things. It's not all rosy, and to be honest,
no, but then you see, in such a situation, there are ways you go about it. It's not in a violent way. It's not in a lousy way. There are ways. You see, some couples they fight, they quarrel decently.
Yes,
there are some couples they quarrel decently.
Name calling.
But how about those ones that they quarrel and they don't get to talk to each other? like that
Honestly,
silent treatment.
Keep
And
it
then
valid.
they get to write.
Whatever
They'll be right.
Or they'll say, go and tell
They'll
your
even
daddy
send
that-
their kids. You gotta tell your mom, and
But
that's
don't
how the kids
involve
even
the
know.
children.
That's how the kids even know the parents are, at loggerheads, because
No.
some husbands they'll just write on the sheet of paper, they'll dump it. Even the monthly allowance or whatever
You go
it
and
is.
give to your mom.
They'll not put it there. They'll write it on the notes. I've transferred, or you will just say that you've transferred into your account. Usually, maybe they will tell you, did you see what I said? And then that one is
The
called-
silence treatment.
But
Yes.
the kids are watching. They know what is happening.
You know, to be honest, the thing about
Yeah.
life is that no one is perfect. No,
No.
parents will ever be perfect. So definitely these things will happen, but know how to balance it, know how to cover it. Some kids, even when their parents are calling, they'll just tease mommy and daddy are fighting again, and that's why you see that they're doing like this. So don't mind them, Joe. They'll not start teasing mommy. Why are you not answering daddy now? Daddy, why are you not answering? So you can still tell that.
that means it's not
Yeah,
now.
that's what I'm saying. You can
Yeah.
still tell that they still love that. Quarrels are bound to happen with friends, with lovers, with siblings, everybody at some point or the other. That's what keeps a relationship, even going. But the best thing is how to manage it. But when it now becomes constant, that your children are not even aware and they are now unhappy, then that means there's a problem. Exactly. Mommy and daddy have started again. Oh, I'm tired. I wish there's a friend's house I can go to. Hey, mommy, I want to go to auntie something because they don't want to be there to experience such. And you see a lot of them in the end, they say, I don't want to have a boyfriend. I don't want to have a girlfriend. I don't want to be married. Marriage is too stressful. Marriage because of what they've experienced. So it really tells on the children negative. Some say I don't want to have kids because what I went through, like you mentioned, neglect will begin to happen. It may not be intentional, but because the two of them are quarreling, they will now put it on the children, and somehow the child will be neglected. So some will say I don't want to have kids. It's a whole bunch of stress. These children will be going through what I don't know. So many things like that. So I think it's really sad that this is happening, but know how to manage the situation.
The conflict.
Yeah, many people will tell you, I never saw my parents quarrel. Some will say my parents were the cutest when they quarrel, like babies, they'll make up and stuff. Or some will tell you that once they start fighting like this, they leave the house. In fact, they'll tell you that, oh, my parents fought morning, afternoon, night, midnight. There were times they didn't talk to each other for a long time. We had to be the mediation. And this will now bring me to even parents that divorce. You see some people, they are fantastic with co-parenting. They still talk. Okay, I have the kids, so they this and that. They will call if there's an issue. Say, this is the situation with your son. Or, maybe the mother will call the husband because he's a man. This is the situation with your son. I think maybe I'll need your input in this at this point. Even though they are not together.
They still have a way of.
They still have a way of balancing and communicating.
In such a situation, it takes two to tango. Because in such a situation, you find that let's say about maybe 7 out of 10, one party will not be, forthcoming, because you could want to, and the other party could just be adamant. Okay, there are some situations that, one party is just so much aggrieved, is so much bitter, and doesn't even want to have anything to do, with the other party. This affects, even if you want, to do some sort of co-parenting, it affects, because it takes two to tango. If you are willing and he is not willing, or he is willing and you are not willing, then there's a problem there. But in whichever be the case, my own, if you ask me, I would say that in all of this, whichever situation you find yourself, either of you, whoever the children is with, should not form the habit of saying negative things about the other. Exactly. Because that's where the problem is. If you have nothing good to say, keep quiet. Just be quiet about is the truth. Just be quiet about the other partner. If you feel that at times, most especially women, we feel so hurt. And anytime you want to talk about the other party, it's in the negative. So why not just not talk about it? Just let it, just keep quiet about it and do whatever you can do. Most especially when the pressure of single parenting is on you. And tell me what you want to talk about the other partner. We should be conscious of whatever we say, we do, because at the end of the day, the other person is also the person's parent. That's something you cannot change till Jesus will come. It can never be changed. And sometimes, someday along the line, maybe one or maybe even all of the children will still want to, tilt to the other side. Maybe the mother, the father. Say, at the end of the day, is my father. At the end of the day, is my mother. Now, what if the child, gets a bit older and you have said all the bad things about the other parents, and it turns how to, somehow find his or her way around the child and begins to work on the child's psychology. And the child, at the end of the day, you begin to turn the child against you also. So, that's either way, even if, co-parent, because most cases today, I realize, I have a couple of friends, I realize that co-parenting is almost always difficult, because most times they don't, they have different ideas. They don't tend to agree on whatever. You understand? So most of the times they just keep.
It's amazing how co-parenting has just become a thing now. Before there was just like co-parenting. It's like a separate. But anyway, it's good to also know that at least there's a common ground where you get to take care of the kids. But it's Eve right here on Metro 97.7 FM. We want to hear from you. We're talking about parent disputes. When the home front becomes a war zone, how does it affect the child? Does it affect the child negatively? Does it have an impact, when the child eventually grows up? How does the child ever become? There are some children that makes them become introverted. Some, they just feel a bit, they don't really know how to face the world, because they've come from a very dark place where they couldn't really express themselves, or they've come from a very not so happy place, and so they just are paranoid around, anywhere they see them, so they are just withdrawn. Well, and then there are some, they're like, okay, my parents did this, or my father did this to my mom. I'm going to do this also to my wife, or I'm going to ensure that I don't toe that path. So it depends too. So that's what we're talking about today on Eve. We want to hear from you. 0810 608 1681. You can also send an SMS to a WhatsApp to that number. Also, you could call us on 0818 202 5883. I would definitely want to hear from you. Join in the conversation as we talk about parent disputes, how it affects the children. And we have very, very inquisitive kids, very curious kids. All right, we have a call here. Let's get to meet our caller. Hello, good evening.
What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Can you tell us your name and where you're calling us from, please? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so definitely affects the children. I want to take my own case as an example. My dad doesn't really know how to manage anger. So whenever I talk to my mom, it's a wonderful man. Whenever I talk to my mom, we see the reaction and we see how bad. And this is something I tell myself, that I'm not going to marry a man with anger issues. This is something I tell myself. I'm not going to marry not just anger issues. That does not know how to manage anger, with others. So that really affects the children.
All right, thank you very much.
She actually made a vital point,
Yes.
which is what I was coming to.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, one way or the other, the child will now be determined and say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to be this that my parent was. Like we have men who are wife beaters.
And sorry to cut you a bit. You will continue in your line of thought. One thing I want us to take cognizance of when she was talking was the fact that she said her father is a fantastic man.
But he doesn't know how to manage his temper.
So now, when she mentioned that, for her to say that she's not going to be with somebody, it means maybe that issue has caused like a lot of things. Sometimes don't let the bad control the good. Now, I was talking about, for instance, a wife beater. You see some guys, they will say, that is the way you will let a woman know that you are in charge. That is what my father did and put my mother in her place. And that's the same thing I will also do, to my, because they feel it's the normal lifestyle. They feel there's nothing wrong with that's how they were raised. That's how they saw it. Some people will beat. They were beating. And so they will say, that's how I'll beat my children too. While some will say, I don't want to treat my child like this because of what I experienced. Some people saw their parents always exchanging harsh, strong words. Like I always say, words are crazy because it's like a plate when it's broken. Even though you can gum it back, even if you fix the cracks are still there. So the person will always remember what you said. So imagine the mother will say, "Ah, you're a useless man. You this broke man. You cannot do anything. You can't even walk well. No activity." Or the man will say, "You this woman, useless. You're around it. You go about this and that." So you see kids sometimes they can't control their mouths. They are rude. Anything they have in their mind, they will just say it out because that
No
is how
filter.
there's no filter. Some are used to seeing their parents keep malice, so to them malice is allowed. The day is not a big deal.
Yeah.
So these things will affect the kids. Some the violence. Then if we look at the situation, a lot of all these people that ended up as all these serial killers, all this like off this thing, when they start reading about their history and all, they'll say they were from
Broken home.
apart from like they had like a
Sausage.
difficult upbringing, you know, one abuse or something and all of that. So all these things tend to affect negatively. Please, as parents, we know we are humans and we can never be perfect, but stop letting your children experience all your disputes. Learn how to balance it and learn how to handle it in a matured way. Because these kids can't keep seeing you quarrel Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it's like, oh, babe, Monday. So this one that mommy and daddy are not shouting today. Hey, are we seeing? Hope all is well, oh.
And you know, sometimes the kids could want to like come in to make peace between
The
the
parents.
warring partners. And then there will be this transferred aggression. Maybe the father will not say, "Are you talking to me like that? Who says you can come into this conversation?"
Exactly, said they can come into this
Yes.
thing. And it's not too young for them to be mediators and all that.
Exactly. And so when they do that, the child begins to be afraid.
Withdrawn.
He doesn't even know when to talk. And so he's like, okay, let me see how this thing will end. So it impacts negatively on all the kids. There's even no plus to it. It's just all minuses.
Yeah.
There's nothing good in it.
Exactly. And you see a lot of them at some point they'll be looking for how to leave home quick. That's when you see them at such an early age from school. When they graduate, they are not coming back home. They're already looking for how to get a roommate and
grown
rent
up
a
at that
house.
time.
Eh,
They're adults
that's what I'm
already
saying.
at that time.
I remember in
yes.
school, some people never used to go home. Midterms that are like a
Others,
couple of
yes,
days.
that one.
They will be in school. Holiday, they will
Or if
follow one
yes,
of their
like
friends.
you said, I know a lot of people that did that too. But thinking about it now, it just
Yeah,
makes
it just
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think the bottom line is that couples should know how to manage, their relationship. Honestly, there is almost no relationship. In fact, a relationship without quarrel I think is no relationship, because I think it's a relationship of the
You have to
seat.
test the waters.
No, because it's so to speak that okay to avoid okay everything is okay even if it's right or wrong, but the thing is that the key word here is for people to know how to manage the situation and how to not get the children involved directly or indirectly, because sometimes also the parents might not even intentionally want to get the children involved directly, but these things happens, and one party will be like, oh my god, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't, and the thing is that you still end up doing it the second and the third time. So I think it all bounces back to intentional parenting, because when the chips are down, this okay when two elephants are quarreling, it is the the grass that suffers, and
Children are the grass.
yes, so, and you see, parents should also, in the bid of wanting to punish my partner, should remember that there's a third party in all of this, or there are third parties in all of this, and these are the children. So they should always have at the back of their mind what the consequences of their action will be, because to every action there will be a reaction. It might not be in the present, it might just be in the future, because even at times it could even affect the parents in their old age also, because we have seen some children desert their one party out of the parents, because the child feels the child has been harboring that idea that oh, my father was mean to my mother, or my mother was mean to my father. So the child will just keep that secretly, unconsciously, and when they grow up will somehow neglect one party of the parents, and which might not really go down well. So I think it's just about being conscious of the fact that it's no more about the two of you. It's about all of you involved in this matter. I know someone that keeps saying to me that, oh, as much as I'm having it so bad with my wife, I still want to remain in here for my children. You know, I want to be involved in the life of my children. I want to give my children the best. And when I feel that, okay, my children are, you know, fully grown, they are okay, they you know, they can stand on their own. If I cannot tolerate their mom anymore, I take a walk. But for now, I would tolerate and I will consume. I will take in everything from their mom, not for anything, but for the sake of the children. That's a right, you know,
That's
a right.
quite considerate.
Yes, that's a right way to think. It's someone that, you know, is conscious and intentional about the affairs of the children. Someone that is trying to protect the future of the children, because in all of this, the future of the children matters. It can make and it can mark. It can make and or it can mark, you know, the attitude the children are building, you know, to become, you know, people of themselves, of their own. Okay, I think we should call out the numbers before we, you know. Oh, okay.
Time is up
Time,
there.
yeah, I was just thinking we could just take one or two calls.
Perhaps that's how we're going to
Yes.
wrap with that song.
Yes,
But you
that-
know,
that's a good
I love the fact that we're, you know, really hammering on the fact that, you know, parents should know that once the kids start coming, it's a totally different ballgame. It's not just about the you as the husband and the wife. That relationship, you know, the kids are now involved, and you have to be a template. You are the role model of what marriage, because they're first exposed to you before to society. So you are the very foundation. So they start learning all those things from you as the parent. So you should be mindful of the things you say, the things you utter. You should be mindful of how you act. It's very you know, by right, say practice what you preach. You cannot tell your kids this is not how to do it, and they're seeing something different.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. You have to be the example of what you're preaching. So you have to go the extra mile. Parenting is a huge thing.
Responsibility.
Yes. So that's why if you know you're not ready for it, then don't bring kids into this world. Don't. Yeah, some parents, they can't even take care of their kids. So why even bring them? It just doesn't make sense, you know. But honestly, we should try as much as we can. You know, parents should make the home front quite lovable. Make it memorable. Make it the one that, you know, the kids will grow up and they're like, I hear some people when they talk about their parents, it's amazing. They have just beautiful things to talk about them. Not that they were not the bad sides, but just that means the good side
Overshadowed.
Yes, so that's how it should be as a way of rounding up. So let's advise, you know, parents.
I would say, you know, if you're in a relationship with someone and you see that you guys quarrel all the time, don't marry the person. The red flags are already there. You are not good for each other. You're bringing down the house, you're breaking one thing or the other, fighting. When you get into the marriage, it will continue. You people will not get mature and lie. So you have to, once you are with someone and you can control yourself, or someone builds you and says, no, this is not the way to go. We don't have to, you know, do this. And then it's not by force to have children. Forget this Nigerian mentality that you must born. Some people are bad.
Topic for another day.
Some people are not
African.
Yeah, some people are not going to be
marriage
good
is for
parents.
kids.
Exactly. And they know it. They know it from their hearts. They know it from their hearts, and they're not going to be good parents. And it's okay if you feel that way. Just don't bring kids into the world to punish them, because these kids are affected psychologically, physically, and otherwise.
Yeah.
If you cannot be a good parent, if you know that you are too selfish, then don't bring kids into the world. There are many ways not to have children. Please.
And we know that you guys are not siblings, so even siblings fall out.
Yes.
Siblings quarrel. Now
Even
you marry
twins.
two different
Even twins are the same
quarrel.
People that did not
Yes.
grow up together.
And then two people would come together and expect everything to be rosy. No, now, what we are saying is you guys can fall out, disagree. But don't let it affect those ones there. They didn't ask you guys to invite them. You people went and
You
them
met,
from
decided,
and
let's
then
bring
brought
them
them
in.
We're not
And
there.
since they're there, I think they deserve a little bit of respect from you guys now. You don't have to involve them in all your funny characters. So, mothers and daddies, respect your children. Do not do your he-man or she-man show in front of them. They don't want to learn from you people. They don't want to learn bad things from you people. Teach them only the good things.
Yeah.
Prepare them for tomorrow so that when they go out tomorrow to settle in their own homes, they have good things they are taking with them. That's my take on this.
Okay, for me, parenting is all about sacrificing. You have to sacrifice a lot of things. At times, you sacrifice the things that gives you pleasure. At times, you sacrifice those things you want to do. At times, you sacrifice those things, those anger you would have loved to vent. You have to sacrifice it and let it go. So it takes a lot of sacrificing. So on both parts, for both parties, you have to learn to sacrifice. It's not every time that you have to shout at each other. If you feel that the children are there and you feel that it's not conducive enough, let it go. You can always let it go and revisit it some other day. Just be conscious of the fact that these kids are there. Do not make your home a war zone. Do not make your home a negative example for your children, because at the end of the day, it affects the character of these children that you have brought into the world.
Well said. Always remember that you are the role model. That's what I would always say. You're the first role model before anyone else, and you have to instill the right morals. Yes, teach them. It's not going to be rosy, but the right way. It doesn't need to be in a harsh environment. It can also be in a loving environment, even when there's a dispute. You don't need to carry. I see it at times. I know. There was this a guy and a girl, lady. They were dating, and usually, if I go to see them, I'm seeing the television is broken. In fact, there was a day my cousin escaped barely because the lady was throwing something and she dodged. So and when they eventually got, I was like, what? Even they got married. Even these people got married. How did they do it? I was shocked. I was honestly shocked that they could get married. But honestly, how many years down the line they are still together? So maybe things change.
Maybe two of them are toxic now.
No, they borrow themselves.
So maybe it's actually working now. So you understand. So please always remember the kids. Always remember the kids, so that in the future they will not start treating you badly. Because
and you will not break the child's head doing presence of
yes, because that can also happen. And some kids, believe you me, they will retaliate.
Never forgive you.
They will do it to you when, in old age, when you're old and growing, you're frail, when you really cannot. Well, it's good for you if you have everything settled, because some people really set themselves really nicely. They really don't depend on their kids for anything in the future. It becomes fine and good. But there are some parents, it's like the kids are the investment to take care of them in the future. If you know you're that kind of parent, you better know what you're doing. But even if you're not, please ensure it's a very, but honestly, make sure it's a very, very, conducive and healthy environment for your kids. But if you did enjoy it today, you do well to make it a date with us. Come next week at exactly 6:15. The ladies of Eve will definitely be here, and we will be talking on something that I know will tickle your fancy, so you definitely want to join us come next week, Wednesday. Thank you to YK, ever delectable.
Thank you.
Thank you. Producer Olivia Hayfron, looking all vintage, nice, in black and white with a pelt. And Cuckoo's baby, always, always looking good. I should have a simple and smile. Thank you for, of course, bringing your beautiful self here. And
thank you.
My humble self in Kamzalim Atta. And, of course, the beautiful, come and tell us your name.
Tosin.
Thank you for doing all the video things here in the studio.
Let me hype in Kim a bit. Yeah. Always looking good. She's always wearing heels. Her heels on deck, on point. Never to be cut. Never to be cut on fresh. So, yeah. That's
and her powder is it for me.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty girl.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brigadier. All right, of course, more coming your way on Eve on Metro 97.7. Never a dull moment. Stay right here. It's Metro 97.7. Good evening to you.
Right.
Ooh.
Don't mind them.
You're not bad.
Where is that going? You know, it's